towards Ursa. He does have the cleave, and Timbersaw is the only one alive. Ah, the Aegis just sort of forgetting about the damage of the Aegis. Otherwise, there was an insanely powerful team fight, and it was going straight for the boys in the Goon. Now, Legion Commander has to duel the Magnus. She has to duel the Magnus, or else this is over. Come on, you got to get that duel on the Magnus. Come on, Ghoulia, I believe. Nope, okay, it's too late. So, Legion Commander not really doing anything that fight, unfortunately. Legion Commander really wanted to, she either wanted to duel the Ursa as soon as he came back to life, so that just he was focusing on her, or duel the Magnus during that fight, because the Magnus's RP essentially helped to turn that fight. Now, Timbersaw's back to life because of the Bloodstone, which is kind of one of the other things about the Bloodstone is just absolutely insane. So, Lena will be back as well. Now they have to, basically, Isis have to back up. Oh, okay, nice duel coming out there from the Brisback, and this is kind of what we're talking about. Okay, yes, just barely getting it out there. But the Blade Mail, you have to be careful because Ursa's damage reduction still doesn't actually count the Blade Mail. And okay, there we go, Legion Commander just barely getting the kill. This is the thing as well with the passive reduction from the Lena, why the Silver Edge is so amazing. Fury Swipes, just it stacks for a long enough time that you have to be careful, and it's non-purgeable. So Legion Commander has to be really careful about that. As well as picking your dual targets really well. This game is essentially going to be determined by the initiators. Lena got an extremely good initiation down here in the bottom lane, picked up 2 heroes, and then that was essentially Isis can't push, gave their team a bit more time to farm. Looks like Trent going towards that Agnum Scepter. That's an extremely powerful item as well. If the enemy team isn't careful, they can get caught out, easily picked off by the Legion Commander with just like a global ult overgrowth. As long as the enemy team's not around, the Legion Commander can just blink and go, hey, cool, I know the enemy team's not around you because I can see that, and then kill you. Now, Lena dying quite a bit there, unfortunately, but she's still level 22. So the net worth of the heroes, we'll just put the net worth, sorry now. We've got net worth, we've got Lena up the top, basically. So Lena is essentially, is kind of carrying Goon side here a little bit. And then the next 3 are... the next 3 are essentially going to be the Magnus, Ursa, and the Bristleback. Legion Commander and Timbersaw are not far behind that. I think we just lost a bit of connection there. That's unfortunate. Sorry, I basically just said Lena's essentially carrying the boys in Goonsack, and then the other 3 cores for the Isis team are definitely up there. Now, Bristleback's core status as a net worth has definitely dropped down. Magnus is actually overtaking him in terms of core net worth. Magnus is actually the most powerful, most worthwhile, the hero with the most worth on the Isis team, just solely because of this Hand of Midas and his ability to farm with Empower. Magnus is an extremely powerful hero as well. This is one of the reasons why you pick him on the offlane. He's got 4,000 gold. I'm willing to bet he's going to go for a refresher just for that, that cementing him as the initiator, but the initiator that wins fights. So if he gets a nice 4-man RP, or probably even a 2-3-man RP, and he gets a refresher, that's 2-3 heroes that are dead. Just straight up dead. If Ursa, because if Magnus gets an RP, you're going to be, Ursa's bound to have Empower, which is going to be extremely powerful as well on Ursa. Now, when Magnus gets that RP off, essentially Ursa's going to blink in straight afterwards and just dish out his entire damage, but in an area of effect, not a single target anymore, which is just really going to crush the enemy team. So what they need to do is they need to pick off the Magnus. The rest of the team is not quite as powerful as this Magnus right now. The Ursa is definitely scary, but the Ursa can be easily kited and basically picked off at the right moment by Legion. So Ursa's going for pure damage with Basher and Desolator, and just going for that awesome lockdown and that awesome power that is Ursa, relying on his Enrage to reduce his damage. Now, if he doesn't rage and they get a Diffusal Blade for some unknown reason, they probably won't, but if they do get a Diffusal Blade, they could essentially shut that down. Now, Legion Commander is looking like going for... that's an odd build. Okay, so Silver Edge on the Legion Commander for another passive disable. Just ensuring that they're going to get these passives disabled in fights, which is actually really important. Now, they unfortunately don't know where the other enemy heroes are, and Timbersaw does not have Boots of Travel. He does have a TP in his inventory, and so he's going to have to come back to defend this base. Now, Legion Commander's got to be really careful here, because if she gets gone on, she's essentially done. She needs to be the counter initiator. She needs to find that Magnus before that Magnus finds her and the rest of her team. And there goes the Magnus with a nice 3-man RP with a 4-star, and basically like, oh! And then there's the double RP basically. And unfortunately, 3 of the heroes just dead, straight up dead from the dire side. And there's nothing they can do. So this is the problem essentially. You carry Sentry Wards and the Legion can't find a nice pick off there. This is the problem with going Shadowblade. So going a BKB or something like that might have helped in some scenarios, but it was essentially just a mute point, because this is essentially what's going to happen with a Magnus that gets a lot of farm. He's going to get a refresher. He's just going to disable 3 of your heroes for the entire fight, and this is basically game. They can't really come back into this, and They can't really come back to this and fight. What really needed to happen is that Guli needed to be a bit more active in lane at the start, and then eventually turn into this initiator, sort of as the Magnus had, because she has to counter the Magnus. She has to pick off the Magnus. Because if she picks off the Magnus, it doesn't matter if the rest of her team come back and decide to duel the Magnus. I mean, decide to help the duel that the Magnus is probably going to be losing, winning, whatever. Where as soon as they move around like that, you can pick them off because they're out of position. So it looks like GOON just holding on a little bit here. They had extremely powerful draft and extremely powerful lanes, and they showed a lot of potential throughout some of the mid game. The problem is, though, unfortunately, that the ISIS is just seeming to be a little bit more coordinated, decided to check themselves a little bit before they wreck themselves. And as they've gone through it, they've got a Chim now on the Bristleback, which is basically, is essentially just saying, like, we're cementing our win. We're going to go play this smart. We're just going to wait. They're just going to wait and essentially push when they're ready to push. And Magnus is just saying, wait for my wait for my refresher. And Ursa's just waiting for his basher or something like that. Now, with the Ogre Magi is basically just full support. No farm, no nothing like that, none of that crap on him. Shadow Shaman definitely going to have come in with the Glimmer Cape. So Ogre Magi and Shadow Shaman are like the lowest of the lows, but they're still above the two other heroes, so the 4 and the 5 position on the Dire side, definitely beating that on the Radiant side. And that's just sort of the whole the feel of this game, is that the Dire side just essentially did not manage to outfarm the Radiant side, and so the net worth was just dropped down because of the way that it felt like they weren't really comfortable playing these heroes. Now, this is props to the Dark side and the Radiant side, both of them, because the Radiant side essentially tried something that they definitely were comfortable with, whereas the Dire side definitely tried something that they might be a bit new to. Just taking a quick Roshan there, and this is basically going to be the last push. So Dazzle just disconnecting the game. I think Ghoulish has got crappy internet, really. Not sure. He might be running there. Magnus is trying to get a nice little skewer back there. If Magnus had got that kill there, I would honestly expect a GG right then and there. Because there's no way they can defend without the Lina. However, the Lina might have gone for the talent. No, she did not go with the 30-second respawn time. She went for a bit more of a carry build with the attack range and the 50 damage. So she's pure pure right click, essentially. When she gets to level 25, she will be very, very powerful and very, very scary. But there's still the fact that if they just decide to dive in and pick her off, well, that's it. Game over. They've got no right click damage, and she needs to be careful because they've got a gem and she didn't realize they had a gem, and so now it's basically she's dead because she's held down. Unfortunately, yeah, really easy pick off there from Isis, basically just making sure that GOON just definitely have no way of stopping them this time, because if they did stop them, they'd probably just with the old little bit of rubber banding going on here. Ghoulie just preempting the just preempting the grave, and a duel coming out of the earth, and it's a nice duel. Unfortunately, not really popping the blade mail, and it wasn't really there with the RP City, basically. Magnus just making sure nobody survives, and yeah, so that's game. Isis just taking them on quite quickly. I'm pretty sure we'll jump straight into the next game. Hopefully the boys in the Goon Sack can essentially just win when they run into the lanes. Hopefully they can win the laning phase and push into mid game, because I've always found that the boys in the Goon have been extremely, extremely powerful as as a team. When they roll through in the mid game, hopefully we'll get that. So I'll just put on some music, blah blah blah, and we'll jump into the next game pretty soon. Alright, cheers. Alright, so we're into the second game of GOONSEC versus ISIS. ISIS taking the first game kind of convincingly, actually. Magnus just having an insane amount of farm and basically being able to dictate team fights just based off the RP, refresher RP combo. Got an Ursa and a Warlock ban coming out from the boys in GOONSEC. Not one in the face at Ursa again. I think a Magnus ban might be a bit more important. The Ursa wasn't really the problem. He definitely was the damage dealer, but it was actually the Magnus and the initiation that was coming out from ISIS that sort of ruined their team fight, because when the Magnus didn't get off a good RP, they essentially destroyed ISIS, and we saw that in the mid lane fight with the tier 2. So ISIS just banning OD out, really not wanting to fight the OD. OD is actually an extremely powerful hero, and I guess they're just not really comfortable against it, or they just recognize that Outworld Devourer is actually really strong against kind of the way that they play. Outworld Devourer essentially is one of those heroes that just goes, let me right click you for a few times and then press R and hopefully your whole team dies. If not, they'll have no mana and we'll win the team fight from that. Just going to wait for the picks to come through before we go into it a little bit more. GOONSEC just not quite getting the aggro tri-lane, just quite as good as they wanted to. A little bit of a respect ban coming out there from the boys at ISIS, just realizing, yeah, that guy on the Lina was actually pretty scary, as they're really the only one to come back on that, so they don't want to fight the Lina or the OD again. Crystal Maiden made it through the pool, and so Crystal Maiden is being picked, and so did Lich. I'm not sure whether that's just like an intentional, haha, we picked it because you banned it last time. But Ogre Magi and Lich are an extremely powerful laning combo, and it's just sort of screaming out this, we might go for a defensive tri-lane this time instead of an offensive one. While the Bristleback was actually a defensive tri-lane, it was more on the aggressive side just because it had the ability to be more aggressive, and probably was there. Just the positioning of the lanes was just different. Crystal Maiden, really well with a Juggernaut. He's still in the pool as well. The only problem is Juggernaut is open for a lot of counters a bit later on. Ursa is kind of one of those counters, so they have banned it out. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Juggernaut be picked up here. If the Juggernaut does get picked, they'll have a very strong laning presence. GOONSEC essentially just, last game not really sort of making that tri-lane quite that aggro and not really being able to, just seeming like they didn't know the heroes that well. The Legion Commander, basically, level 2, she should have just been able to push them through. And the boys in GOONSEC just say, look, we're not going to give you Magnus. We're going to take Magnus, and you know what? We'll show you how it's done, essentially. So hopefully the boys in GOONSEC extremely... It would be funny to see the same reverse game happen. An anti-mage ban coming up from ISIS. ISIS basically not wanting to face the late game carry at all. I think they're just trying to close off this game too. Lich is extremely powerful in lane. It can help your carry get super farmed super fast. Ogre Magi basically prevents anyone from harassing you. Can go mid and just, your mid will just basically win that. The anti-mage ban, it sort of screams, I want to pick a Storm Spirit. Storm Spirit's one of those heroes where zip, 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 runs out of mana, anti-mage blinks in and wipes your entire team. Outworld Devourer is also sort of like that, but banning the anti-mage basically is just them saying, we don't want you to have anti-mage for a reason, which isn't extremely obvious just yet. Anti-mage also a really good farmer, so if left alone can out-farm most heroes, except for possibly Alchemist and maybe, Magnus buffing his Finn or something like that. So it's just looking like ISIS is essentially wanting to roll with a really strong laning pick, and then eventually move into something just a bit more deadly. And then the Spectre ban coming out was in GOONSEC. That's a bit interesting, actually. A Spectre ban straight away. Spectre is a strong hero, definitely a strong hero, and Anti-Mage one of the kind of counters to Spectre. In a sense, they're, whichever one gets the most farm. Spectre comes online a little bit later and is a bit more of a potent one, but Anti-Mage could essentially just force fights before that, and if Spectre does haunt in, Anti-Mage essentially blinks away from the haunt illusion and then just goes on a support, wipes the support from the map, and then Spectre kind of has to focus on doing the same thing, but has a much longer cooldown. Juggernaut being banned out as well. Now, Juggernaut and Anti-Mage, that's sort of screaming out that they don't want to face, I guess, when Invoker's coming up. Juggernaut, not the best against an Invoker, but I guess the Juggernaut's just a strong carry in the mid lane. The mid game, which probably looks like ISIS is going to go for either a super early push into the mid game, and they don't want to be contested in the mid game, or they're going to go for something seriously late, because Invoker does go very, very well late, and Lich has a strong ultimate to go with him. A large amount of magic damage coming up from the boys in ISIS. Anything, the only magic immune hero is maybe Nax or Omni Knight coming out there, and I seriously would love to see an Omni Knight in this team. Omni Knight is insanely powerful. If they even go for a Legion, Omni Knight Legion is pretty powerful. Legion blinks in, Omni Knight heal, bam. Pretty much almost instant win for the duel there. Not to mention, if Invoker doesn't go for a Lincoln Sphere, it will force him to go for a Lincoln Sphere against the Legion, and if he doesn't, essentially, then Legion will basically duel him all game, every game, and if he does, it sort of slows down his scepter timing and a few other things where he can just basically kill the entire team. With the Magnus as well, Legion gets that buff with Cleave, which will essentially increase her farm, allow her to push into that late game superpower that she can become. And also, if anyone is around the duel to try and help the duel target, will take damage in form of Cleave. Venge coming out really strong lane support. The ban from the Bristleback on the Goonsack boys just really not wanting to verse it again. Not to mention Bristleback. Not really sure why they banned the Bristleback actually. He wasn't super powerful last game. He actually got shut down quite hard with the Silver Ages. He sort of just dominated the lane because they didn't really know how to play against that lane, I feel. If they wanted to ban Bristleback, that's up to them. They could ban that. But I don't really feel like he offers Isis anything much more. I don't think Isis would want to play it again, but I guess an Ogre, Lich, Bristleback Trilone is extremely powerful. You know what's even worse than it? Ogre, Lich, PA, buddy. But you really wouldn't ban an anti-mage against a PA. You'd welcome an anti-mage pick into a PA. They might pick something else, something that's very, very mana dependent. So Invoke is going mid instead of the Storms for a pickup, which is pretty right up there. You definitely want to ban anti-mage against Invoker because Invoker does throw a lot of spells out and anti-mage has massive spell resistance. Looks like they're probably going to go for a nuke one. I wonder if they're going to pick a Pugner or something silly like that. Could be a Pugner with the Juggernaut ban. They're looking like they're banning anything that can push or can split push or just has a huge amount of nuke that can pick things off. So maybe even a lone druid might be picked up here if they've got a lone druid player. UGTFL loves playing as Clockwork, so wouldn't mind seeing the Clockwork with the Mirana coming up. Mirana also offers a lot of magic damage to them, and also a nice ultimate that helps with the teamfight setups. As far as the boys in the Goon set go, Crystal Maiden, Ventral Spirit, seriously strong laning combo there. 2 root and a disable, and then a Baden coming out. Okay, that is officially a scary lane. Abaddon, Ogre Magi, and Lich, if the Abaddon decides to go into the carry, the Abaddon can basically just run at the enemy, because Lich will basically force the creep wave equilibrium to be really close to your tower. Abaddon can just run at the enemy with an Ogre Magi bloodlusting him and slowing the enemy down, and then he slows the enemy down on top of that, and then the Lich throws another slowdown. They've got an extremely potent lane here. Basically, I would just go, you know what, screw that lane, give me a Weaver or something like that. Okay, yeah, a Phantom Assassin. I was supposed to say, give me a Weaver or a Phantom Assassin as my carry, who will basically just come in and blink in and just hope for RNG to get there. Now, Abaddon against Phantom Assassin actually is not really that powerful because the amount of damage that Phantom Assassin can dish out will basically buff his ultimate. Phantom Assassin is really strong against the rest of the heroes though. Not very good against magic damage, unfortunately, which is the Invoker, Lich, and Ogre Magi. So, kind of a balls to the wall pick there by the boys on Goonsack. Quite like it actually. Phantom Assassin, kind of you go hard or go home. Phantom Assassin with Cleave. If they get a nice RP with the Phantom Assassin and blinks in, she gets a couple crits. That's their team dead. Very similar role to the Ursa. The Ursa has this ability called Rage, which, yeah, just basically negates all that. Oh, nice Dazzle ban coming up. They really did not like playing against the Dazzle. It seemed like the Dazzle was basically what kind of kept a lot of those fights. They drew them out a bit longer than they should have. Dazzle also extremely potent against any kind of teamfight heroes like Invoker, Ogre Magi, Invoker, Lich, and possibly I'm not sure what their final one's going to be. It's going to be an offlaner. Timbersaw would not be a bad pickup here. And Timbersaw actually suffers quite a bit from the Dazzle Weave. If they pick a Slider or something like that, that'd also be pretty good. Coming up with a ban here on the boys on Goonsack. Crystal Maiden, Ventral Spirit, Magnus, and Phantom Assassin just looking like a really, really powerful lane coming up here. Phantom Assassin with the Crystal Maiden aura will just be able to spam her daggers, and Magnus will be able to spam his Q, basically almost cementing him in lane dominance. Now, if he is against the Ogre Magi, Lich, and Abaddon, he should be able to skewer away if he is a sitting offlaner. If he is set against the mid lane against the Invoker, he'll be guaranteed to get farm. Slack being picked up here. Slack is a good counter to Phantom Assassin if he gets the Silver Edge. Silver Edge initiation on the Phantom Assassin, and then just pop it with magic damage. Quite easy, or just right clicks. It's a very, very good ban coming out from them. Essentially, sort of realizing you guys kind of need a safe lane carry if your Abaddon isn't the safe lane carry, that is. But the Abaddon's probably going to go into the off lane. Same player as probably the Magnus was last game, and just basically just going to be like, hey, 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 guys, got lots of farm, so what are we doing? Now, Abaddon serves a slightly different role where he's a semi-support. Oh, wow. So the Storm Spirit was picked, but on the opposite team. Okay, so Storm Spirit's an extremely powerful hero here. So Magnus probably going to be sent into the offlane with a Crystal Maiden, Vengeful Spirit, and Phantom Assassin going into the tri-lane, probably a defensive tri-lane. I'd actually like to see if Crystal Maiden, Vengeful Spirit, Phantom Assassin, aggressive tri-lane against Isis's tri-lane and Magnus to be in the safe lane. Guarantee that Magnus some farm, because even if the Phantom Assassin doesn't really get that amazing amount of farm, she gets levels, and you just threaten kill potential with the Venge Spirit and the Crystal Maiden lane dominance. And the Magnus actually is guaranteed to get farm there, which is really what you want. With a Magnus with farm is absolutely insane, as we saw before. Now we've got this final pick coming up from the boys in ISIS, and this is essentially going to determine
10 seconds to go.
how long it will be. How long this game is going to go for, because that Storm Spirit pickup is essentially a Weaver. No, I'm not super fond of this in all honesty. Weaver's definitely a strong pickup against those heroes. No real lockdown except for the Magnus. Crystal Maiden's root actually prevents this and reveals the hero. Not to mention Venge's stun. Venge's stun is pretty good, but Weaver can probably disjoint that. Storm Spirit's probably going to go for a what's it? Orchid. Probably going to go for an Orchid and maybe into a Bloodthorn, and Weaver's probably going to get absolutely smashed by that. Although Abaddon does have the Purge, so they've got a lot of that. I wonder how the lanes are going to go. If Abaddon is in the off lane and they run a Lich, Ogre, Magi, Weaver lane, they're kind of negating the fact. I feel like they're just overcommitting to this. They're just going too hard into the whole, Weaver's a good lane hero. We'll just throw 2 more extremely powerful lane heroes to guarantee that we win this.
10 seconds to go.
We're going to throw just all sorts of stuff at it. Not to mention Invoker. If it goes Quas Exhort, he'll have Sunstrikes available, so quite a bit of damage there coming out in the lane, giving him a lot of kill potential, but just right on the backside, if the Phantom Assassin, Venge, Crystal Maiden go on the tri-lane, that's just as much kill potential, if not more. If Crystal Maiden gets a root on the Weaver, Sakuchi's not going to do jack, and then they just got to stun him. They got to wait out the root essentially, and guarantee the stun, stack it really nicely, and then the whole time the Phantom Assassin's just wailing on the Weaver, and the Weaver's not going to last long because it doesn't have a lot of health, and it's just like, well, what are the other 2 heroes going to do? Ogre Magi can't kill, and neither can Lich. They don't actually have a lot of kill power at level 1. See, Lich is going for Sacrifice, so he's got actually no damage except for right clicks. Ogre Magi going for Ignite, which is basically just that OP skill, and he's most likely going to be in mid, trying to help the mid beat Storm Spirit out, because if Storm Spirit gets farmed, that's scary. No, I don't know why Storm Spirit went for a recipe here, because he's not near the side shops, unless he's actually going safe lane. Are they going safe lane Storm Spirit? This is something else. A recipe basically is just like, well, it's nice to have in your inventory, but you might as well buy like a Sage Mask or something which is actually useful in your inventory. Looks like Magnus definitely got in the offlane here with Ghoulie playing the Magnus. Probably a bit more comfortable on this hero. Just going pure regen and realizing that Crystal Maiden's going to have it. Oh, I like this. Okay. Goonsake definitely know these heroes a bit better than the other ones, so they know that they've got a much stronger fight right now. Just with the Lich actually doing nothing in the lane. They're going to be a bit careful, because Abaddon actually has an area of effect defensive spell. So what they're going to do is just force out a couple of things here and just back up. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Well done, boys. Now, if they'd fought that, there's a potential that they could have got a kill, but the Ogre Magi is just damn near impossible to kill. Plus, his Ignite is actually quite powerful, and Abaddon's shield is an AoE, so it would have hurt all of them. Okay, so Storm Spirit probably going to just take the rune there, and probably Ghoulie going to take the other rune. Is the Phantom Assassin mid? I'm okay with this. I'm going to allow this. Weavers looks like a solo offlane Weaver, Invoker mid, and then an aggressive tri-lane here. So the aggressive tri-lane of Isis, that's definitely right. The Vengeful Spirit, Storm Spirit, dual lane, and then the PA mid with a roaming Crystal Maiden. Alright. I guess show us how it's done. Nice little block off there from the PA, just slightly better than the Invokers. Now, if PA's got to go in there to try and change the lane equilibrium, she's not even bothering to go into last hits for some odd reason. She's got a poor man's shield, so she should actually be able to, kind of contest last hits with this Invoker. She's got pretty alright base damage. Looks like top lane. It's a tri-lane versus a dual lane, so tri-lane's generally going to win here. So the unfortunate thing is they're not committing to this, and so Lich is actually going to have the ability to, really power up their lane with the sacrifice. Because he went for sacrifice at level 1, which is what most Liches actually will do in lane, is you really need to punish that with like I don't know, a Crystal Maiden or something. Come in there, just, Crystal Maiden, freeze the Lich, either force out a shield on anyone but the Abaddon, and then you just go on the Abaddon, or you just go on the hero that's not there. You go on the hero that's not Ogre, basically. If they had a PA, they would have had a lot more kill potential. So this is an odd laning setup, and I give this to Isis if Goonsec don't actually do anything pretty soon, because once they hit level 2, then they've essentially lost their advantage. Their level 1 advantage is much stronger, and that's a really nice setup there. Unfortunately not. And Ghoulie just getting instantly purged. Okay, and they got like a nice little, they're going in a really nice fight here. This is exactly what they want to do. They want to pressure them as much as possible because they've got the higher nuke damage right now. Storm Spirit going for the Static Remnant. Once he gets his passive in, he'll be a lot more potential to kill. And PH is going in on the Invoker. This is what you want to do. Well done. PH just basically realizing, you know what, you actually have nothing in the first few levels. When you get a couple of levels, you're actually kind of scary. Also, sort of the same here with this aggressive tri-lane. Because they level so slowly, you really have a larger window, essentially, where you can bully them out of lane, and you should be bullying them out of lane. CM probably wants to go for a couple of pulls here. As far as the offlane goes, it looks like Weaver versus the Magnus. Weaver currently killed the Magnus at early levels, and the Magnus is going to threaten some damage, but, no one can kill no one. I guess the Magnus is probably closer to killing the Weaver than anything. But still, the Magnus is going to get pushed out of lane eventually, because the Weaver's just this pain in the ass. It'll just start dealing too much damage and be really, really unkillable with his Sakuchi. So Weaver probably going to win this lane eventually, but Magnus definitely not going to be thrown out of this. Probably going to get a decent bit of farm here and just, getting a nice few last hits here and there. So we just go to the last hits to deny. So basically you see that Invoker is definitely at the top, and then Abaddon's right next, and then Magnus is there. So PA losing against the Invoker quite heavily, actually. PA should sort of focus on last hits rather than on actually damaging the Invoker, because she probably won't be able to kill the Invoker because he's got a point of Wix, which she should be able to tell by just looking at the skills. So if you look at the skills and you see anything like that involves Wix, he's got Wix, which means he can have Ghost Wall. And he can quickly cross Wix, jump away, and then you got nothing. So you really want to focus on last hits and denying him, so that you can build up a slight level of advantage, and then once you get to, I think, like level 5 or something, where you've got 3 points in Stifling Dagger, you just dive on him, and you just keep diving on him until he basically dies. And it looks like we're going to get first blood here for Jesus. Jesus is just going to go down, Crystal Meta just feeding him. And yeah, so level 2 on this tri-lane is much stronger than the other one, because you've got Bloodlust, which basically just improves your hero by like 20%, and then you've got Lich, who's actually got a nuke now. So they're joined up to level 3. Lich is, this is the problem. Lich is going to actually start outscaling the other heroes, and this tri-lane is going to just lose even harder and harder and harder. I would honestly just say the best thing to do now is send Venge somewhere else, like maybe send the aggressive tri-lane with the Magnus or something, or go mid as an aggressive tri-lane, or just do anything else except for just leaving these two heroes up here, because it is great that Venge is getting experience, but you want the Storm Spirit to get more experience so that the Storm Spirit can essentially turn into that sort of zip-zip-zipperoo crazy pain in the ass that he is. And as an Sentry Ward and Storm Spirit, I'm assuming that's just to either de-ward off because they expect it to go up against the Weaver. So unfortunately, the lanes by Goonsec not being kind of predicted well enough here. It was pretty difficult. The aggressive tri-lane definitely was sort of, foresaw with the Lich and the Abaddon pickup. Lich and Ogre are basically just two lane-winning heroes. Whenever you pick a Lich or an Ogre, you're there to win lane. Really nice dodge there by the PA, just dodging Meteor. She's gonna get a regen rune as well. That's really well done. So, okay. Oh, and it's gonna get cancelled now. She's got to be careful because she's actually in a bit of a bad spot here. She does have evasion, and unless Iron Jesus is in her favor, she's maybe gonna take quite a bit of damage and maybe even die. No, she's not gonna die. But yeah, PA just kind of not really doing too much in here. She's 10 and Invoker's like 23, so net worth is definitely swinging more and more in the Isis favor. Oh, okay, and unfortunately the Sunstrike not gonna land. But a nice little salve there coming up from Jesus, just doing that support stuff that supports do all day. So support just Crystal Maiden is wandering around and is not really being able to do anything. She's got to get level soon, so she should just go in and jungle. She's still level 1. She really needs to jungle. She's got Frostbite. Just go jungle, get some levels, be useful to the team later on. If you don't jungle, you'll essentially just fall off and you'll be a dead weight for your team. So this is one of the things that's really like hard for a support basically. Like she's just sitting here doing nothing. She should Frostbite. Okay, she should Frostbite a large group because you can kill it essentially. And she'll get more experience from that. Now she's got level 2, so she can finally get the Arcane Aura, which is the reason you pick Crystal Maiden. And now it's kind of a little too late because the Abaddon's level 4, the Storm Spirit's level 3, and so is the Venge. Magnus is probably the only one on their team that actually has like a decent amount of farm. And he's going to be forced out of lane pretty soon because the Weaver's like still a high level in them. So it's just like fully going into the favor of Isis here. Magnus and PA are definitely the two second two top worth. I would still not throw them out of this game. It's definitely not game over yet at all, by no means. But it's definitely Isis is cementing a lead. They're paving the way for the lead that is essentially going to, hopefully win them the game. Ogre Magi just actually roaming around like a good support should, and Crystal Maiden just finally getting some jungle stacks in here. Now she should really just keep doing this until she's level 3, before she gets any so she can get some kill potential, get some boots, and actually do something. Because if she's just wandering around, that's just wasted time. She really should just either be jungling, stacking camps, or doing something, essentially. Now, Magnus is actually getting a bit of farm, but he has to be really careful because he's got no mana. And he just wasted his mana, and it's a pause by the Invoker, essentially. So the Invoker just pausing. Okay, so Invoker just having connection issues there, just going to reconnect. But it looks like the Magnus is actually going to die here. Now, depending on whether or not the Magnus thinks that he can possibly regenerate 10 mana and the few seconds that it's going to take Weaver to kill him, he might be able to skew out of this. But if Weaver has a Equip Swarm, no, he's dead. He's basically dead if Weaver plays this right. So I don't think Weaver hit him with the Sakuchi, which is probably just a little bit of a misplay there. But he's got double damage coming out. So Weaver's going to hit him there and throw the Swarm. Swarm's going to stick on him, and it's going to take at least 5 or 6 attacks. During those 5 or 6 attacks, Weaver's going to go to town on this Magnus. Very, very likely to get a kill. (24/7, 4/8). Okay, I'm not sure what that was, Jesus. But okay. So Jesus and the Goon Sect just having a bit of fun times there. Probably going to throw up a ward there. PA definitely could be doing better this lane, but she's not far behind the Invoker. She's a couple hundred gold behind the Invoker, and she's got level 6, which now, this is where it comes in. Invoker actually really scared now. If she gets, I would not go for a bottle on a PA here. You probably want to go for something like a Ring of Aquila into, a Blightstone, and then just go that pure, I'm going to rely on Iron Jesus to kill you and then force you out of lane. Because if she lands a nice crit with that the Blightstone, she's going to essentially just reduce his health below probably half, and then she can threaten a kill. And if he doesn't immediately skill Quas Wex, go Ghost Walk, she's just going to blink in and start dealing damage. If she gets a nice lucky crit after that, she can possibly kill him. With the evasion, basically, the tower's going to do about it's roughly around 50% less damage just because she might pray to Iron Jesus. And she also probably wants to max out Blur just so that she can do those crazy dives. Alright, yeah, and so Magnus just going down there to the Weaver. Sorry, missed that. But yeah, Weaver just basically guaranteeing getting a kill on that. He did use the Swarm in the end, and he's maxed out Sakuchi. Now, Crystal Maiden needs to be extremely careful here because she can pop down a Sentry Ward and do all she wants. He's a Weaver, he's going to kill her. And she's just getting a nice bit of experience here. Throwing a Sentry Ward for the Magnus, not really going to help too much. It'll definitely give more vision, but a Vengeful Surret level 3 versus a Abaddon level 4. Abaddon's going to win that 100% of the time. Abaddon's an extremely powerful lane here. It looks like unfortunately Storm Spirit forced into the jungle, and he's got like no farm at all. Mustachio Furiosa coming mid. Damn bloody mouse. Mustachio just coming mid and sort of harassing the Phantom Assassin a little bit, just forcing him to remember that I'm here in this game. Magnus getting a decent bit of farm. Nothing super serious happening here. Ogre just, securing the bounty rune. That's just something you can do as well if you're winning the lane. If you're winning a lane really hard, just go and secure the enemy's bounty rune. Not only does it take farm from them, but it gives you farm. Like that, the best part is it gives you farm, but the bonus is basically, oh yeah, I get farm out of this too. So I'm not sure why they've done it this way, where they're putting the Venge in the lane essentially solo to get the solo experience, and the Storm Spirit is jungling. a very magic resistant camp as well. He should probably be jungling another camp. I guess because he's got the Crystal Maiden aura, they think that he can jungle fast and actually get some net worth out of this. But Crystal Maiden better be careful. She's not. She's just gonna die. Oh, and yes, okay. So Isis just spotted Jesus. Now Jesus has got to be really, really careful. Hopefully he comes back to life after 3 days. He's got a few items in there and he's got wards, but yeah, he's probably not gonna get killed here. But still, just sort of putting on pressure and just preventing him from being anywhere else. Ghoulie on the Goon getting some nice farm here, just rocking up with the arcane boots. It is still screaming more and more in the favor of Isis though. PA not really being able to do anything to the Invoker just yet. Invoker definitely out-leveling her, but PA should be able to have the damage. So PA with a Blightstone is much stronger, and yeah, it's good. You want to go for an the reason we're going to get the Ring of Aquila is usually for the mana regen, but I guess with the Crystal Maiden you don't need the mana regen. So yeah, that's pretty good. But it still helps you a lot because you can just spam as much spells as you want. Now he's still going to be a bit reliant on that. Okay, so Soul Ring finally picked up on the Stormfront. So Stormfront can gank and maybe come out of the jungle, but this is. You've seen this in pubs and it never works, essentially. Someone that just goes AFK for a while just puts too much pressure on the other lanes. And the Invoker and the Weaver are definitely going to start, taking a bit more of a lead in the network. Okay, and so Ogre has to be really careful here, because yeah, Ogre's probably going to get killed here if you get a nice lucky crit. Does Crystal Maiden have anything else? No, unfortunately Crystal Maiden doesn't have anything else. And this is kind of what I was getting at, where Crystal Maiden's only like just level 3 now. Probably wants to level up 1 point into her oh, that's a nice route there from the Crystal Maiden, basically getting a nice frostbite off there. PA could have actually gone on it if she had a little bit more health. Going for a bottle instead. Oh, okay, we'll watch out for the Sunstrike and just missing the Sunstrike a little bit there. But Ghoulie on the Goonsec is, Jesus is essentially having to be here mid and help the mid out of time. Now Jesus really wants to get the boots. Ghoulie's doing really, really well in his offlane, not really dying that much, only dying once. He's maxing out in power. Usually you'd put 2 points in Empower, or maybe one and 2. The Empower basically gives you enough damage, but maxing out Empower is sort of screaming that he's not really here to get a lot of time. He's here to get levels and then power up his PA. Because the PA, tanking that Sunstrike right on the face. Now Crystal Maiden coming with a nice frostbite there, which is basically preventing the Invoker from attacking and essentially saving the PA's life there. So really well played by the PA, recognizing I've got kill potential, I better use this. I'm going to get a nice haste in here. Now if they can hold the Weaver in place, they might be able to get a kill. Looks like Weaver is probably going to go for probably move into the 4-star thingy, the Hurricane Pike, which is essentially broken on Weaver because of the attack range, not to mention the 4-star giving you another way out. So Ghoulie can just essentially whittle him down a little bit more, since he has no region other than a bottle, which probably want to go for like a... Eventually he'd probably want to go into a Lincoln Sphere, and it looks like he's diving, so Ghoulie has successfully baited this out. Now all Ghoulie has to do is get a nice RP off. Oh, okay, that's a really good RP, except there's still the... Yes! Okay, that's perfect timing, well played by the boys on the Goonsec. Requiring a 4-man rotation, unfortunately, but Ghoulie getting a nice RP off there and just forcing enough damage out. Okay, Ghoulie probably going to get hit by the Sunstrike. Oh, very well played by the Invoker. Ghoulie's RP essentially forcing out the Weaver to use his time-lapse just by dealing enough damage that he had to go time-lapse or he's going to die. Unfortunately, his time-lapse was at the perfect time that it was actually in the tower, so it was really well played by the Goonsec boys. And then just TPing in a couple of other disables, such as the Crystal Maiden. I don't think they needed everyone to TP in there, probably the Phantom Assassin was a bit overkill, but still participating in a team game, that sort of stuff. Ogre Magi, there's another Sunstrike just going to waste the Storm Spirit there. Storm Spirit just kind of not doing anything this whole game. He probably wants to go for mana boots and then actually just be useful. Maybe he is like an associate ganker or something. Okay, no. Oh, nice stun coming out there from the Goonsec. Unfortunately, there's not really much follow-up to that, and yeah, they know that there's no... Okay, if Jesus has got a frostbite off there, he probably would have forced out a nice little, Weaver time-lapse. And there's a Sunstrike going to come out, and another kill from Isis just to pop off the Vengeful Spirit. They're just walking back. So the Invoker really just realizing that, hey, I don't need to leave my lane. He's got a nice Midas here, so he's just going to accelerate extremely far ahead and farm. And so you can see this. Invoker's just top net worth in the game, and he's basically just going to stay that way for a while, unless they get a nice pick off. Problem with this is he's still kind of weak right now. He is going for that eventual looks like he's going to go for the magic staff. Okay, and there's a nice pick-off coming here, and if they just get the... Oh, there's no dust, there's nothing on them. Okay, this is a really poor play from the point of view, because they rotated 3 heroes, and they're probably going to lose these 3 heroes now. There's a Sentry Ward pop down. It's a little bit late, but unfortunately, yeah, they do get it down. just because Jesus coming in there with a sentry ward. So they do get the kill, and they're just sort of lucky to come out of there alive. So yeah, Ogre's got to be careful, because if Phantom Assassin gets a couple lucky crits, it's a dead Ogre. Pretty good there, requiring three to come in, but it is the highest net worth hero in the game, so it'd probably be worthwhile. Maybe a bit better of initiation, coming and bring Dust next time. If they brought Dust in, they'd probably get the kill quicker, and then they could just retreat, and then kill the Ogre off straight away. If they had more health, they'd be able to kill the Ogre off quite easily, but unfortunately they don't, just because of the way the fight broke out. Taking too many tower hits. So Dragon Lance coming out on the Weaver, probably going to go for that nifty little Hurricane Pipe, which just basically gives you that little bit more of an escape. Now, Ghoulie has an RP, so he's got it. He's got to accept that this Crystal Maiden is going to die to the bug. No, okay, she's not going to die to the bug. She will die to the other bug. Unfortunately, Ghoulie's going to die as well. So this is the point. Okay, ooh, very nice juke there, the Sunstrike. I'm not sure if he knew that that was going to happen, but he just sort of decided to juke. Oh, okay, really nice from the PA here. She's going to get the kill. He's got no mana, so it's a trading of the two for one basically. Crystal Maiden, easy kill. Not worried about that. Magnus, not super worried, but yeah, the PA is getting the kill, so that's at least pretty good point there. So Crystal Maiden really wanted to wait until either the RP was over, or one of them wanted to not waste it. So the RP was definitely needed, but when the RP comes out, essentially, they just wanted to force the time lapse, and then once the time lapse was over, then force out a Frostbite. Because then essentially you've just wasted his one stone. Okay, and he's got his ult, so what are you doing? You really don't want to be going for that hero. You want to be going for the Lich. Okay, so Venge just sort of tanking one for the team there. Okay, and nice, just baiting out the ult. Really well played by the Goonsec guys here. Mid-game essentially is their time. You just don't want to fight them now. Gotta be really careful. I think Isis is getting a little bit too confident there. Abaddon's got a Vlad's in the Poor Man's Shield and phase, and that's nice, but, you know, PA's got crits, bro. So they gotta be careful, because PA's look like she's probably gonna carry this game. If she gets in a little bit more range, she could get a dagger off, but she really doesn't want to do, she doesn't want to do this crazy stuff where she's essentially going too crazy. She has got the buff from Magnus. As I said before, Magnus was going for Empower, which is essentially going, you know, I may not be extremely powerful, but my PA is, and she will kill you, and she'll kill your whole team. She has a limited set of skills, and those skills are Blink, Dive, Kill. Magnus nearly close to his Blink Dagger. This is actually going to be a pretty close game. There's no real way to call it. Yes, definitely Isis did win the early game, and they do have the highest net worth in the team right now, but it's only 4,000. It's not an extreme amount, and the experience is sort of leaning the other way. Stormthreat hasn't even come online yet either as well. Stormthreat, that's probably one of the reasons why they've been having such trouble, because they've basically got the Stormthreat who's doing nothing. And that's nothing against the Stormthreat, it's just sort of the whole, it was a good pickup, but it's the way that they laned it essentially that probably caused the Stormthreat to have to run into the jungle. And so when he does come online, there's going to be a whole nother essentially hero that they have to deal with, who's really hard to kill, by the way, because just zip. He's going to go for a Bloodstone, just which is your stock standard first build, rather than an Orchid. An Orchid gives more kill potential, but you usually don't go Orchid if you're mid and you've got a lot of levels and you've got that really powerful amount of damage to burst out. Looks like the boys on Isis are going to go for a bit of a push bottom. Just gonna zoom out here for a little bit. Yeah, Crystal Maiden taking that fire blast to the face, just getting lit on fire. Just wasting a fortification just to waste a bit more time for them. No Midas is out on the side of Isis except for oh, okay, nice swap coming out there to just get the Lich. Unfortunately, the Abaddon just insta-purging it. Oh, it was a lovely RP they're getting to. Right into the Crystal Maiden aura, and it's just going to get two easy pickles with the Crystal Maiden. Now they have lost the Venge, but the Weaver's going to go down before he gets his time lapse over, and it's just the Abaddon left who's got the ult. He popped the ult, and he swapped it for the Crystal Maiden. But if they get a nice stun off here, can they get a stun? No, they don't get any stuns, unfortunately. Stormthreat's Vortex on cooldown, use that to kill the Weaver. Much more important target, okay? So the Abaddon basically just going to TP out because they got no more stuns. Not enough damage to kill him straight off the bat. But the Desolator's out on PA now. Now it's kill time, basically, and the Magnus getting an extremely sweet RP. Really well played on Ghoulie, and okay, nice blink into the dodge of Sunstrike, and Ghoulie just coming in to basically say, you know, hey, leave my PA alone, and he's got the dust. Okay, so PA has to time this right. She can fling out a dagger, and she can probably get a nice couple of crits in there. And if you get the RNGesus is not in her favor, unfortunately. Okay, so PA didn't max up Blur, which maybe could have saved a life there, but I definitely think that the Blur is a bit better of a pick-off, because if you do pick up Blur, essentially, if you max Blur out, then you're committed to the fight, and that's kind of what PA is right now. If PA blinks into the fights now, she's committed. She's not like she can just, oh, I don't know, I'll just blink out. Although that, granted, she might have missed the Sunstrike at that point because of the cooldown. Okay, now, they have to be really careful. This Venge is probably going to die here. Oh, okay, nice little Frost Nova in there to force out the Falls out of time lapse, and unfortunately, Crystal Maiden going to go down as well. He's going to throw out a last little, the last little frostbite there. Now, the problem here is essentially that Weaver is extremely powerful. You can't really just fight him like that. You have to have a bit more of a team to lock him down and permanently kill him, because he's fairly weak, but he's also really powerful in terms that he can actually kill your team. So they had to be really bit careful there, and they should have just left the Venge to die. Venge also had the bug on her, which is basically just whittling her health down slowly. And so Ice is just going to say, you know what, take the towers while their cooldowns are on cooldown. The ultimate's on cooldown. Crystal Maiden, really nice powerful aura, and Magnus, really nice powerful. Really nice powerful ultimate, and Magnus a nice powerful ultimate. If Magnus gets a nice RP, pulls him back into Crystal Maiden's ultimate like that, gets a couple of lucky shards, this is basically a couple of their teammates are going to either die or will be dead pretty soon. Crystal Maiden actually sort of matching up in net worth, and Ice is still with the top 2 in the lead. PA not far behind. The Invoker just, yeah, he's just fat. This is basically just an Invoker game. He's got a Midas and he's got his Scepter. So they've got a lot of farm in him and a lot of farm in the Weaver. The Abaddon's still quite powerful, but he still doesn't have anything that he brought him online yet. I'm hoping that the Stormsword actually gets a bit more farm, and so does the Magnus. That way that they can come online at the same time. They've still got the ability of a Magnus to RP, blink RP, push him back into a PA just doing mad crits, with the Stormsword doing AoE damage in the freezing field. So if they get a really good team fight off, they're just going to bring themselves right back into this game. And so this game isn't over essentially until the Ancient dies, just because of that ability that they have. Once there's a lot of farm on the Abaddon, then it could swing a bit more in the other opposite favor. So nice little medallion coming out here from the Abaddon, just sort of going, you know, I need to tank up a little bit, but also if I get a good scenario, I need to be able to kill the enemy. PA just taking a couple of engines here, trying to keep up on farm. She's doing a really good job too. Managing to stay up with the Weaver and probably going to surpass him soon. This is just the power of her in power. Yeah, now PA's got to be really careful here, but it's also sort of the whole, okay, so she's just going to spot them out, and then the Stormsword is going to come in, and that's an instant pick-off. Now, as soon as that ultimate's popped for Abaddon, then Crystal Maiden wants to throw out the ult. Oh, okay, so she threw it out a little bit before, and here comes the Lich ult. So the Lich ult instantly goes onto the PA and kind of whiffs, and they're going to focus everything on the PA, which is their only kill potential really right now. So the Crystal Maiden just a little bit of misplay there, but there really wasn't anything else because the Invoker's coming in now. PA just got to be a bit more careful. Once you get that first pick off, she has to back up and just wait for the right position to go in. Hopefully force up the reason they won the other team fight was basically because the enemy heroes were going on like the Magnus and other heroes that are slightly less valuable and have less kill potential essentially. With the Stormsword nearly finishing off his Bloodstone, he's actually going to start coming online pretty soon. Once he comes online, things are going to be a bit different. Invoker just TPing to his Forge Spirits there just to get a little bit ahead. Now, you got to be actually a bit careful here because they've spotted them out. So he's going to go on. He's going to go on the Vengeance Friend and just pick her off quite easily there. Unfortunately, there's no heroes to back her up, so easy peasy pick off. But if the rest of the team was there, they probably could have picked them off. So Invoker and Weaver really hard to lock down heroes. Dire definitely have the lockdown to do this, but unfortunately they need to group and just recollect their thoughts with the PA. I'd honestly just waste an RP on the Weaver and just stack your stuns so he can't do anything. Just insta give him with the PA. Why does PA have lifesteal? I'm sorry, just trying to figure something out. PA has no Vlad and she's got lifesteal on my visual. But I'm Stormsword coming online, so he's just going to be able to farm now, basically. Farm, drink up dust, and it looks like he's going for an Orchid. Yeah, that's the item that you really need to get. A couple of silencers on here. Once the Invoker gets silenced, he's either going to have to go for like a BKB or something else like that. That's just insanely powerful. But, as I say, yeah. With the Stormsword coming online now, and the rest of the team sort of, at a point there, they really need to sort of pressure and hopefully get a nice kill pick off here. Hopefully on something like I don't know, Ogre would be a nice easy one, or the Lich. The Lich has got a really powerful ult, so that'd be pretty good. Okay, CM just sort of her smoke broke, so she's just thrown down a Sentry Ward. Now can they see? They've just seen the Invoker. They've just seen the Invoker. I mean, sorry, they've just seen the Ogre Magi, so they know the Ogre has invisibility, so they know that the team can see them. But they got to be like a little bit careful here, because PA cannot be up the front. Okay, what is PA doing? Okay, nice bash from PA. First hit bash. Oh, and the Abaddon unfortunately getting the save in, and then there's the Lich ult. This is the problem with PA going in first. The Stormsword death. Oh my god, that Magnus RP and the Seer ult. Just insane, but it's just not enough to get the kill. It was absolutely brilliant, but they just didn't have the PA to come into there, and actually that's when the PA should have been in there just to wipe the team. maybe ISIS wouldn't have charged in as quite as hectically as that. So what they really need to do is use the Stormsword to bait it out. Stormsword to bait it out, get them all grouped up. Magnus RP, CM Ultimate, and PA just coming into this wreck phase. And so we're basically, with that just team fight they lost, there's essentially like, they still have a chance, but it's a 90-second chance right now. And it doesn't look like ISIS are even going to give them a chance. They're just going to take this game, basically. ISIS is essentially just saying, you know what, bring it on, we'll definitely take you guys. They've got a much stronger team fight right now. Just with all the items set up. Solar Crest and the Abaddon, really strong. Storm Spirit basically just not being able to come into the game, unfortunately. If Storm Spirit had come in a bit earlier, maybe given him the mid or something like that, maybe the PA wouldn't have gone in the mid, but I feel like the lanes, they had so much more potential than really what was done. If the PA had gone in sort of an aggressive trial lane at level 1 with the Avenge and the CM, they probably could have absolutely just dominated that lane. The Magnus offlane was really strong. He did really well offlane and just going for that pure initiation, and he's got some really good RPs as well. So Magnus is definitely pulling his weight this game, but it's just sort of like the Storm Spirit is essentially not really doing anything this game, unfortunately. Nice little pick up for the Roche. They're actually just going to leave the Aegis in there because they can. Right. Okay, so Weaver picking up Immortality as if the bug wasn't hard enough to squash. He's just going to be immortal now. He's got his Lincoln Sphere up now as well, which is going to negate about one target thing, which is around about enough for him to get off his time-lapse guaranteed. So he probably will not need to go for a BKB and probably goes for a Desolator or something, pure damage, maybe even a Daedalus. I'll put in Pop over here, running around, just... He's finally come online. It's a little too late, unfortunately. If he was mid against the Invoker, I'm not sure how that would have gone. Maybe the mid player just doesn't actually play the Storm Spirit, which is one of the reasons why they were just like, yeah, we're not going to put you on a Storm Spirit. The PA was a strong pickup. It didn't really do anything in the mid lane enough to warrant it being a mid, I feel. If it was in the safe lane and it had done the same thing and done the same job, basically they would have at least guaranteed that the Storm Spirit would have got a lot of levels. Venge solo in the lane, probably not the best idea. And so Ice is just sort of playing it safe, getting a bit more farm before they go and push. They do have the Aegis, so I'd really like to see them end this game quickly before the actual team essentially, you're giving the chance back to, you're giving the game back into GOON sec now, just because all the ultimates are off cooldown, and they could possibly land another one like that, maybe initiate it a bit better with the PA. Sorry, not initiate it better with the PA. Since you have the PA sit back a bit more, and then the Storm Spirit initiated or something like that. Someone that is almost essentially useless in the sense that he'll go in, and when he dies, he's actually more useful when he dies because his bloodstone charges get used up. Okay, so I'm not sure what Storm Spirit's actually, what his plan is here. It looks like they're trying to chase down the Invoker, who's like moves at the speed of the Roadrunner. He's extremely hard to kill, and so he's just going to throw out a couple tornadoes, and might even get a kill on the PA here, who's really weak against magic damage early game. And yeah, it looks like PA is probably going to go down. Magnus getting a nice RP on 2. Unfortunately, it's the Lich and the Abaddon, and Lich is probably going to throw out his ult if, he wants to. No, just Ghoulie just going to go down there, so just PA and Ghoulie just dying there. So a little bit of a missed, sort of whiffed initiation there by the Storm Spirit, unfortunately, because he can't come online. If he probably had another item by now, he would be a lot more powerful, of course, and he would be able to easily 1v1 the Invoker. Zip, silence, start bursting you down, have a PA throw a couple daggers, you're dead, and then it just turns into a 4v4 fight from then on, and there's nothing really, no ultimates wasted. And that's kind of like the kill potential that they kind of missed out by their lanes not doing too well. And it looks like Ice is just going to push and sort of just say, you know what, let's just end this game. Abaddon going for that solo crest, saving up money, going for the Radiance. Yeah, stock standard, basically just going for, well, what all the pros are doing. The reason the pros do this is basically you have to kill Abaddon twice, not to mention you have to stop killing him for a while, and that whole period that he's staying alive, he's burning you with a Radiance, which actually does amount to a lot of damage. Radiance is quite powerful. 65 damage I'm sorry, 60 damage a second, and if it takes you like a minute, that's 60 seconds to kill an Abaddon. That's quite a lot of damage. That's 3,600 damage. It's insane. Alright, so we've got a little bit of a fight going on here. Kind of just pure whiffed. CM buying back. Not really going to do much. They did kill a Lich, and the Lich for the Storm Spirit, I don't think that's worth it. And then the CM's just going to die back. Yeah, Weaver got a Monkey King Bomb. Nice bit of damage there, just guaranteeing that he will get that. And unfortunately with the the Monkey King Bar, just PA has no evasion, and so she's just going to die. So they basically have a full counter lineup for the PA, And Magnus is probably going to see if he can get like a nice little... Is he going to get it off the RP? No, he doesn't have RP. It's off cooldown. Oh, okay, it looks like just the GG is being called. Well played by the boys in ISIS, just sort of dominating the lanes again. Unfortunately, the draft from the boys in the GOON sec, which was... I feel like the draft was a lot stronger for ganking, but it didn't really get to be used as powerful, and its power really never came to play. So cheers for watching. I'll upload these videos pretty soon, and it looks like ISIS moves on to the next one, and the boys on the GOON sec move down to the lowest bracket for a little bit of a round robin. We'll be playing a few more games before the finals, essentially. Hopefully the winners brackets is hopefully the winner brackets get sort of sorted out soon, so we can get to that point. But cheers for watching, and cheers for supporting the ODL. If you have any teams that want to play, definitely let me know. You can't join this one anymore, but you could definitely join the next one. And the prize pool will be still the same, $500 next time. We just sort of need to get as many people as we can in this, so that we can get more money. Cheers, and see you later.